I literally told myself I would never start collecting records, and now I'm addicted. Ever since, I'm probably going to say 2019, I don't know if that's too late, that is when I knew of friends and people around me starting to collect records, and I wanted to join the, it's so bad to say, trend. I wanted to join the trend so badly, but when I found out how much a record costs, I was like, with the amount of craziness I get when I start collecting stuff and the drive I have to keep collecting, I am gonna run myself broke. So because of that, I literally didn't collect records, vinyls. Do you want me to say vinyl or record? Record. So because of that, I literally didn't collect records for many years. I never talked about them. I never was like, I'm gonna get a record player, I'm gonna start, because I knew that once I would start, I wouldn't be able to stop. And I remember there being that sort of discourse when it started to gain more traction on TikTok. I know it was before TikTok that people started to get obsessed with records, vinyls. I'm just gonna alternate between the two. And I know there was all this discourse. I remember learning all about, like, you know, don't have a suitcase player, have a normal, more expensive player. Like, you want to invest in a good player if you want to start collecting records. And I'm like, oh my god, you know, you buy the records, but then you got to buy an expensive player, or there's no point. Like, this is how people used to talk about it, and I was like, they still to this day do. If I search up like tips or anything about records on TikTok, it's like, if you have a suitcase player, like, you can, like, you're not even a real, like, record collector. I became super heavily into CDs. Pretty much all of my favorite albums I have on CD. Some that I haven't picked up on vinyl yet is because I have it on CD, and I feel bad that I'm like, look, I probably spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on CDs. Like, I have a box, like, all my family has huge collections of them. Then I took ones of theirs that I liked and then added so many more. I literally would go after school and, like, pick up like 5 CDs. I don't know why. And CDs aren't cheap either. Sometimes they're like $30 for a CD. It's like, none of my cars even play a CD anymore. So it's like, kind of like, I have a CD player, but other than that, what's the point? Touched on in one of my previous videos, I went to a Wallows album signing event, meet and greet sort of thing, and you could only buy and have vinyl signed. You couldn't have CD signed, and I really wanted to meet them. So I purchased the vinyl, got it signed, went to the event, but I was so angry. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I spent all this time collecting CDs. Now I have one vinyl, and it's like, I can't even listen to it. So what's the point? I don't want it to warp and get damaged, because I bought like a big like display case frame for it. So it would have like the vinyl disc on one side and then have like the front of the album cover on the side. So it's kind of like a big, like, long picture frame. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, some friends would be like, come over to my house and you can play it. And I'm like, I'm too nervous to do that because I feel like it's already warped. But because I kind of still had interests and musical artists I loved, such as Taylor Swift, what can I say, who are so affiliated with collecting vinyls. Oh my god, what the hell's going on with the light? Because Taylor is so affiliated with the vinyl variants, you know, this variant, my interest and everything else was sort of affiliated with vinyls. The people were like, don't you have a record player? Like, I just seemed like the type of person who would freaking collect stuff. I'm literally like overconsumption vinyl boss, to be honest. So for my 18th birthday, I was surprised by all my friends who chipped in and bought me a record player and my first 2 vinyls, other than, if you don't count this, which was 1989 Taylor's version and Lana Del Rey Paradise. They bought me the cutest Crosley lavender suitcase player. I know that people still have problems, like suitcases in the long run damage your vinyls and things like that. I haven't had any issues with mine. I try and keep it in good condition. I try and keep the needle in good condition. I know that if you start to expand your collection, and as like a beginner collector myself, if I start to get, like, if I double my collection, then I may have to invest in another one, or if, you know, the player gets older and stuff, but it's only less than a year old. So I think if I sustain keeping it in good condition, I can still get a good of enough life out of it without damaging my records, fingers crossed. As seen in my room video, I keep all of my records in this little wooden display sort of like organizer that I literally just got from IKEA. I don't know what it's meant to organize. I know it's not records, but it does do the trick because you don't want to have them warped. I don't know if this angle that they're on has them warped. I know that it's because they are kind of shifted to the side. That might be a bit of a problem, but for now they stayed in good condition. I just don't have any shelves that fit them, and I've had them up on my high shelves before, but they literally have fallen all the way down. So here is my mini vinyl collection. I really don't have too many records. As I said, I only started collecting less than a year ago, and I haven't bought all the albums that like sequentially I don't know if that's a word, come out, because then again, I don't know if I can fully invest. Usually a lot of these major albums are $80. Unless I really, really love the album, or I really, really love the pressing, or vice versa, then I won't invest. So as for the records I already have, first up, I have Man's Best Friend. Such a beautiful, this is one of my favorite covers. I know, of course, known to be very controversial. It is so cute. It comes with the cutest little like inside inserts. And it also comes with a little mini poster, but I haven't put it up yet because I'm too scared to like damage it. And as for the pressing itself, it is by far my favorite. It was one of the first like records I picked up myself. And it is just the most beautiful color. I don't know if you can see that. And I know I'm probably going to get bashed for how I'm holding them. I promise I'll be gentle. But it is like such a beautiful album. I'm so happy I have this on vinyl. It's such a beautiful record and I love all the songs. Literally one of my favorite albums. Next up, a recent purchase of mine when I went to the Audrey Hobart concert is, why did I literally forget the name of the album? Where's the Clown? This is by far one of my favorite albums of all time. It is just so, I can just return to it. It's just so relatable. I can always return to it. It's just a beautiful, simple black pressing. It also comes with a poster, which I freaking love. I love when they come with a little poster that I'm more entitled to buy. And I was meant to pick up, they had only a few signed copies at the concert. We weren't that far back in line, and yet it already sold out, but I'm still so happy I picked this up. Next up is the soundtrack of the film West Side Story. As you can see, one of my favorite movies of all time, the best musical, just so beautiful. I picked this up at Red Eye Records, which has a better range of albums. I would go there to pick up my records if it wasn't like a new release. I feel like they have really good deals. This one was, I'm honestly gonna, it was less than $50, and it is one of my favorite albums of all time, and it is a beautiful red pressing. It is to die for, but so worth it. I'm so happy I have this picked up. Like, it is one of my favorite albums of all, like, it is the best music of all time. I stand by it. It literally, the first time I watched the movies, played the music, so I've seen it on Broadway, well, not Broadway, I saw it at the Sydney Opera House, but like not the Sydney Opera House, outside the Honda, is it called like the Honda Open Air Theatre, sort of with the backdrop of like the Harbour Bridge, the Sydney Opera House. It was outside, I was front row, it was beautiful. Literally the best of all time. Next up, I asked for this for Christmas because it, again, all of my albums and records I collect are all staples to what I listen to, what I love, my favorites of all time. Jim Croce or Jim Croce. I don't know what is right, but it is just the essential, the definitive Croce. And it has the 3 major albums. He is the best. It is so good. He has such beautiful songs. Like, these are some of my favorite songs of all time. If you guys would know some of his music, even if you don't actively like listen to it. And And there's 3 pressings. There is this cream pressing for You Don't Mess Around with Jim album. The I Got a Name album has a beautiful orange pressing. And The Life and Times has this beautiful blue pressing, which I love. The next album is the only one that I pre-ordered. So this is the only album I bought before I listened to it, which might be a bit controversial. Not one of society's favorite albums of all time. Well, I'm pretty sure it is one of the most streamed albums of all time, or some sort of records. But of course, I have this pressing of The Life of a Showgirl. It is honestly such a beautiful pressing. I love the colors of this. I wish the album better replicated what was shown in these promotional images, because it truly was such a beautifully pictured, staged album. And you know what? Like, initially, I was a fan of it. Like, I remember listening to it in the middle of an exam season, and I was like, this is literally the best thing I've ever heard. And maybe I am like rose-colored glasses Taylor fan. Like, oh my god, these pictures are just to die for. But you know what? It's not as bad as people say it is. It just isn't the same writing quality as her other ones. I don't know why. I don't know. And I'm happy maybe it reflects a more positive Taylor. And this is just the most beautiful pressing. Oh my god. That's why I had to get it. But you know what? I give credit where credit's due. It is still such an iconic album. It may not be the best received album of all time, but it's still to die for. And I have this freaking huge poster of her. Oh my god. Oh. And then on the other side's her eyes. But I'm gonna freaking drown in this poster if I try and flip it. Then, as I was saying before, I have the simple black pressing of The Born to Die, but just the Paradise edition, which has some absolutely iconic songs. Such a great album. Lana Del Rey is one of my favorites, and I don't have enough of her albums on pressing. And I think it's because I was waiting for the Lasso, of Stove, whatever her new freaking album is that she's gatekeeping from us, that she says is going to be out every other week. So hopefully she puts out something. I would love to get it on vinyl. I know it would be a beautiful pressing. Then just to take a closer look at my beautiful Wallows album, it comes with a big poster too and just a neon yellow vinyl. And then of course, as you guys saw in my other video, I have the Michael Jackson picture disc for Thriller. It is such a good album, such a staple. I'm happy I have this alongside with some of my favorites. This is a favorite, but also just a staple LP to have in the collection. And then last, one of the first that helped me start my collection is 1989 Taylor's version. Oh, I literally just can't help but smile when I look at this picture. It is like a staple pop album. I actually don't know why. It's just so beautiful. But it's a 2 LP album. Some beautiful photos of Taylor and just some beautifully colored vinyls. I actually don't play this one as much as I should. I low-key should more. Maybe I will, because it's just such a long album, having the 2. Is there 3? No, there's 2. But like, it's just so much of a long album that like sometimes I'm not bothered to, yes, you're flipping it, but you're also getting out the second vinyl, and it's like, oh, but it is so iconic. Back to the shelf they go. As for all the albums I do have, some that I hope to collect and get soon, I really am so excited that they came out with a pressing that you can get straight from JB Hi-Fi of Bad Bunny's Debiti Mas Fotos. I think I'm saying that right. Because I went to the concert. It was such an amazing concert. I love his music. I love that album. It'd be so cool to have on vinyl. I also do want the Bad Michael Jackson picture disc. It's also another beautiful staple. I saw it the other night when I was out at like a vinyl bar place, and I was like, oh my god, like that's just a sign I need it. Of course, I would love more Taylor on vinyl, specifically Reputation. I feel like on a suitcase player though, it'd probably sound a bit iffy with all of like the boom boom like music going on, like sound effects and like thing that's like throughout the album. I also really want to pick up Olivia Rodrigo's You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love album, or any of her other past albums. But I've heard rumor that the new album, and I've seen videos, it's not rumor, it's true, that they don't have like the outros for, I don't know if it was Maggots for Brains or one of the other songs, Honey, I'm not sure what song it was, Honeybee, something like that. One of them doesn't have the full outro, and I know that another few of them have like, it's like cut off because they wanted to keep it within the one vinyl. It is pretty cheap though, like I'm pretty sure at JB Hi-Fi it's only $60, which is pretty good for a brand new album that is getting so much traction right now. But still I'm like, and they only have like the standard black pressing, and I would prefer to have the alternate cover with the alternate pressing, but we'll see. I know they do stock that at a few Cotton On locations. I might check that out, but I don't know. Let me just see if I really marinate on the album and I really love it, then I will get it. But my two favorite albums of all time, which is so random, are like, I swear, either very expensive or very rare to get on vinyl. That is Purpose by Justin Bieber. My literal favorite album of all time. It is like the definitive album. I don't know why I love it so much. I have loved it since I was younger. I have it on CD. It was one of the CDs that I'd play repetitively. But it is, I'm pretty sure it's very rare. Like, I don't think they make very many pressings, or it's very exclusive because it's not at like major vinyl stores. I can only really see it online. Also, K through 12 is one of my favorites too. Like, such a great album. Like, and I would love that on vinyl, but I feel like that's low-key expensive. I feel like that has two vinyls with it, so maybe that's why it's more expensive, or it's like a very unique pressing. I don't know. Personally, I think it's always good to get into a new hobby, and if spending money on vinyls is better than you spending money on something else you don't need or something bad, like, it is a good vice to spend your money on something that's collectible, timeless. You could say it is an investment if you spend your money wisely on certain albums. It's good. It's just, if you get addicted too quickly, I have seen TikToks where people are like mass selling all of their vinyls, because once you get addicted, it's like, you know, this album has 10 different unique pressings, and I know people say like Taylor's like susceptible for that, but literally almost every artist nowadays does it. So it's kind of like, if you do want to become a collector, it does get very expensive very quickly. And as someone like me, I don't really have a much income to put towards vinyls. It's only if it's special, one I really need, or I don't know, I'm just low-key in the mood. But at the end of the day, a lot of these collections you don't necessarily need. I could listen to all of that music for free online. But it is just the novelty in collecting something, in playing something for like nostalgia, you know, showing my family, they're like, oh, I used to have something just like this. Sort of, you know, some of them could be as an investment, some of them get really rare, so if you spend your money wisely, it may be good. But at the end of the day, not many collections are realistic, and so starting collecting something like vinyls can get expensive quickly and can not be worth it in the long run. But at the end of the day, if you're mature about spending your money and spending on albums you really enjoy, everyone has a hobby, everyone probably has something that they collect, so to each their own. And I have loved starting to collecting vinyl. So if you guys have any tips or anything about especially like cleaning record players you think that I should invest in, anything, any pressings that you love, let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed this cute little chat, sit down video, talking about vinyls, talking about collections, and hopefully you learned something too. Thanks for watching again. Bye!